Hey guys, it's Adam aka Swimming Bird, and welcome to Splatoon. Last episode, we tried out the Wasabi Splattershot, one of 8 new weapons bundled in with the big 2.7 update. And today, we're going to cover the rest of the features. Last time, we talked about things like weapon balancing, the new weight system for heavy weapons, special depletion, lots of new stuff to talk about and cover. And we'll get the rest of it today as I try out a new weapon. You can even see the special depletion there on the bottom of the loadout screen. All right. So we're going to start with the Berry Splattershot Pro. And this one is one of only 3 sets to have Suction Bomb Rush for the special. The other 2 are the Splash-O-Matic, which we see pretty commonly, especially in tower control, and it got some buffs, which we talked about last time. So definitely going to see more of the Splash-O-Matic. And I believe the other one is the Rapid Blaster Deco, which you don't see too often. The Rapid Blasters don't seem to be loved much. But the Suction Bombs, with that nice delay in their explosion, can get you some splats like so. So I kind of like the Suction Bomb Rush. It's pretty good to have this huge blast radius with all these bombs going off, because they do explode with a larger blast than the other bombs. But the only downside, especially with this weapon, is that those things use up a ton of your ink, and then you guys probably know that the Splattershot Pro is infamous for using up a bunch of ink as well because of the extra features that it has over the normal Splattershot, so you got to use up a ton of ink. But I think if you're careful, maybe you have a lot of ink recovery or ink saver main, you might be all right with this set. And it did get some buffs, so the Splattershot Pro is looking pretty good in this patch. So let's get into the features that we didn't talk about. So we covered main weapon balances. Let's talk about sub-weapon balances. The burst bombs got hit pretty hard because if you guys have been playing a lot, I'm sure you know, burst bombs are very popular, especially on the E-leaders. They love to use those as a nice close range option to get... Oop, that guy helped me. A little bit of ink, but I'm out of here. They're pretty popular with the E-leaders to give you that melee option so you can take people down. I see a lot of E-leaders even get more splats with those than their Charger. But burst bombs have gotten some nerfs, also some buffs though, so we'll cover all that. Now they increased the ink used from 25% to 40% of your ink tank, so definitely gonna be not firing off as many of those burst bombs in a row, and Ink Saver Sub I think is probably gonna be more useful for burst bomb users. They also decreased the blowback effect on opponents that are hit by burst bombs, so this is really good for any weapon that needs to be pretty close to splat, especially like the brushes and stuff. You won't get pushed back as far from the burst bombs. They decrease the radius within which opponents take minimum damage by 20%. So this means you're going to need to be a little more accurate with your burst bombs to take some damage. If you're too far off, it's not even going to damage them. But this was balanced with another feature that we'll get into in a second. They also increased the minimum damage dealt from 20 to 25. So that's not too bad. 4 burst bombs with nothing else will take down an Inkling. They increased the radius within opponents take medium damage, which is 35 points of damage, by 14%. So if you are more accurate, you should be able to do some more damage. And then also, they increased the radius of the ink splat on impact by 43%. So burst bombs are probably not going to be any less of a threat. They have a huge spread now. They almost doubled it by, or increased it by half of the already existing spread. So they're pretty close to splat bombs now. I almost wonder if splat bombs are going to get some type of buff because burst bombs are kind of balancing out to not be that different. Whoa, what got me? Was that another? Yep, we got another, we got another berry. They just were more accurate than I was. So yeah, the burst bombs, lots of changes, but I think in general it's going to balance out that burst bombs are still pretty good. And we do have a new set, or 2 new sets that have burst bombs featured. The new Bamboozler uses them, so you can get a big quick shot and a throw of a burst bomb and probably take people down easier with that weapon. And then also the refurbished Mini Splatling uses that burst bomb and burst bomb rush. So it'll be interesting to see if people still are as into burst bombs in the new 2.7 patch. Now Ink Mine's got some changes as well, some big buffs. The Ink Mine, probably the least used or least popular special. Ink Mines, they decreased the ink used from 60% to 50%, so you can lay them a little bit faster and not have to worry about your ink usage. They also allowed you to place another ink mine after you've already placed one. Now, it doesn't explode the first ink mine, unfortunately. It just makes it disappear and leave that little, circle of ink where it was. But that means you're not going to be stuck with where your ink mine was placed. You can move it around easily without having to wait until it explodes. So that's definitely a nice buff. And also, placing the first one makes it disappear, like I mentioned. So yeah, it's a little bit of a change off. I would love if they made it, since you use the ink anyways, it would be nice if you could trigger your ink mine to explode when you lay the second one. But, you know, any buff for that sub-weapon is a welcome one. Now, Seeker's got a huge buff as well. They increased the width of their ink trail by 38%. Now they're starting to look like a Octobrush type of trail. Like, they leave a pretty big trail on their way. So it is nice, more ink coverage for you. And the new tempered Dynamo Roller has that, so I'll have to try that out. Also, Seeker movement was increased by roughly 3%, so very slight adjustment to speed here. I don't know if we can do this in overtime. Jeez. But yeah, Seekers are slightly faster. And then splash walls. There was a glitch where if you placed a splash wall on a slope, it would activate faster and, you know, pop that splash wall up quicker. And a lot of people were using that as a strat, but they changed it to where it just, you know, activates at the same speed regardless of ground level. And so splash wall's a little bit of a bug fix kind of nerf there. Well, we tried our best. We were coming back from a pretty big deficit, but we didn't make it. I'm starting to like the Splattershot Pro, the berry one, especially because I don't usually use this weapon too much. You need a lot of Inksaver main to really make it work, especially if you're someone like me who plays defensively and throws a ton of their sub-weapon out. But we'll do another match here in a different mode. Okay, so we're on tower control now on Kelp Dome. This one can be rough because that tower moves pretty quick on this small map. But we'll talk about the rest of the fixes here and changes. So there's an adjustment, a buff to ink strikes. So as far as specials, this is the only special that was really changed other than the whole special depletion system for all the different weapons. So ink strikes, they decrease the time for it to launch after you've designated a target, tapped on the gamepad, by roughly 33%. So this is huge. You can move around a lot faster now when you're firing that ink strike off. And combined with the last patch, where they made it so that special duration up will decrease the time it takes to launch ink strikes and killer whales, I think the ink strike is not going to be as much of a liability. You don't have to be quite as careful when you're firing it off. Ooh, but you do have to be careful when a Luna Blaster is shooting you from underneath. But yeah, that was the only special that was changed. Now they changed all of the player marking abilities. So point sensors, cold-blooded, echolocator, haunt, this was all affected. The point sensors actually got a little bit of a buff. So echolocator, when you have the cold-blooded ability on, before, if somebody echolocated you, you'd be able to track someone with cold-blooded for only 3 seconds rather than 12. Now you can track them for 4.5 seconds rather than the 9. So it's they kind of made the timing of all of the tracking things down way lower than it used to be because so many people are using the tracking abilities. And also with Haunt, it used to be 12 seconds, pretty much the same. 12 seconds when they didn't have cold-blooded and 3 seconds when they did. It's 9 and 4.5, just like the echolocator. But point sensors, it used to be with 8 seconds when they didn't have cold-blooded, you could track them, and 2 seconds if they did. Now it's 8 seconds if they don't, same thing, but 4 seconds if they do. So point sensors actually got a buff. And if you like tracking other players, you might want to look for a point sensor set. I really like the heavy Splatling Deco. It's got that Kraken as well. But I think they want to encourage people to maybe ease off the echolocator since that special does build up a lot faster than some of the others now. And a lot of people use that. And maybe try something like a point sensor instead. Now, a few of the stages were changed. So Salt Spray Rig, there was adjustments made so you couldn't take unintended shortcuts in all the different modes. I know Salt Spray Rig doesn't pop up anymore on certain modes as much because there are some weird balancing issues that hopefully they're working on. Bluefin Depot, there was an issue that allowed players to move inside certain objects in Rainmaker mode. Rainmaker had some big bugs that they had to fix. Flounder Heights, they prevent players now from taking unintended shortcuts in tower control, pretty similar to Salt Spray Rig. Now, one of the big bugs that they fixed in multiplayer, when there was a bunch of lag or performance issues on a server, people were able to like grab the Rainmaker and then super jump. And sometimes, you know, if they had a beacon or a person over there, super jump all the way to the end with the Rainmaker and just slam it down. Like you would drop it and you could grab it again and get that win super easily. So they definitely had to fix that. They also fixed an issue where players would occasionally take damage from splash walls if they were close enough to it when it first activated, or it prevented them from doing that. So you definitely want to stay away from splash walls because they can damage you. They're mostly a shield, but they'll do damage as well. They fixed an issue where the explosion from suction bombs destroyed a splash wall, but you're still able to pass through the splash wall to damage players, so the splash wall should be defending from that damage and not just letting some of the damage break through. They also fixed an issue where you could splat opposing players with vertical Inkzuka or Rainmaker shots that were completely concealed by terrain. Like certain maps, you guys have probably seen HOV games, Mahi Mahi, have things to stop the Rainmaker and the Inkzuka from getting those shots off, but that was a bug that they fixed. They fixed an issue in which shield strength was not being reduced when you shot the Inkzuka or the Rainmaker, and they fixed an issue in which players on the far side of splash walls could be splatted if the wall was hit by a Rainmaker shot. Lots of issues with splash walls and stuff like that, because those are still pretty popular despite the nerfs in the past. They fixed issues with ink mines being placed by multiple players at the same time, exploding automatically, and lots of stuff like that. And issues with ink mines being placed by teammates could damage you depending on their placement. So tons of bugs with different sub-weapons, which maybe you don't see the ink mine ones as much, because I mentioned not as many people use them. Really trying to get this tower in here before they can, 20 seconds left. They also fixed an issue with players using the Kraken, and they weren't able to see the damage indicator when attacking opponents and stuff like that with Seekers and lots of different damage things. Whoa, I got a push here going. Can we do it? We got bubblers. All right. I wasn't expecting my suction bomb to really clear the way, but we did it, and that other player, teamwork, man, teamwork, had that bubbler at the right time. Last but not least, they did. Adjustments have been made for a more pleasant gaming experience. Pleasant indeed. I've been having fun with the new weapons. Next time we're going to try out the tempered dynamo roller. Thank you guys so much for watching. That's it for all the changes. If you want to check the patch notes, I'll put it at the top of the description as usual. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys next time for some more Splatoon. Thanks again for watching. Goodbye.